I have some Fabled action for you. Don't worry, we've also got some Earthbound Immortal Red Dragon. What in the world is this? And some Punk, too. Make sure you guys smash the little crap out of that subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more Oz content. Ooh, so we have some Fabled action for you. Now, I've been trying to keep up with as much Fabled stuff as we can kind of see because this deck is just actually a lot of fun. Is actually, I think, kind of one of the more unique decks that we kind of have access to right now. Just kind of see what we can do. Now, this build is playing 2 copies of the Azamina in here because this is a free little extender. I mean, being able to beam itself down onto the field and act as a tuner monster so you can kind of go through some of these lines, I do think is very, very important. I also see, oh wow, we're getting to play Abao Q in here. And of course, you know, it just isn't a classical, you know, deck unless you're able to do full Fiendsmith combo in here. And, you know, you can typically, you know, blame our bridging point for why this deck right here is able to function on the multiple access that it is, because Konami wanted to allow this to be a thing. But I think this deck is really cool. All the options that we've got going here actually look really, really solid. Next up here, we have the Earthbound Immortal Red Nova in here, and what is this? It just cheeses out a Red Nova Dragon from the extra deck, which, I mean, is kind of cool. You're putting this big guy on the field, which, I mean, hey, one more boss monster that you can kind of have to do your thing is really good. I also see we are doing some Metamorph shenanigans in here with the Flame Swordsman and the Red Eyes Black Full Metal Dragon. Honestly, don't underestimate what having access to this thing does. But, you know, if you want to have a really fun time, this, once we do get this card and being able to beam out a boss monster like this and being able to kind of, you know, play more of the Jack Atlas special, as I'm going to call it, I think is really, really fun, man. Like, this is one of the last synchro toolboxes that kind of faded off into the void, and this actually is kind of fun to bring it back. All right, next up here, we have some little Punk action for you here. Now remember, Rising Scale out here was one of those little extra niche cards that we got that were meant to kind of try to push this deck, you know, back into its own spotlight and give you a chance to play pure Punk. Because remember, Punk was always, you know, oh man, you know, are you playing Gold Pride with your Punk deck? And this actually was meant to give the deck its own opportunity to do something. Now, see that this build is doing the Deception line with the Diabell Star, which is kind of cool, actually. You know, being able to essentially set up into a line of negates to ensure that, you know, we can get to the Jam Fever, then, you know, keep things rolling with the Punk line is essentially, you know, what we were kind of wanting to see out here. Now, in terms of what you need to change with this list, I don't really think anything. Most of the inclusion of this package just kind of fixes what little issues that this build feels like it had. Ooh. We also have, this is actually really cool, we have some Scareclaw action for you. Now, if you have totally forgotten about Scareclaw's existence, I don't blame you, actually. One of the major things that the OCG still has is they still have Baron de Fleur out here, and that actually still gives them a very solid game plan. Coming to the TCG version, you gotta make some little subtle changes. I do see that this build is using the Prisma package in here to basically kind of turbo through and make sure that, you know, we can get to the Scareclaw line so we can start things. You also do get to see Mr. Magistus here doing his thing. And of course, we're doing the Link into the Vrains with this. This is actually a nice little tech choice in here. I mean, being able to straight link one and, you know, make sure that you're going to get to what your deck needs to do is very, very solid. So, is this deck fun? Oh, yeah, it is, 100%. We have some Mermail action for you here. There, once again, you know, you get to see the Poseidro leaping on into action out here, being that extra little card to kind of, you know, get things going as you want it to be. We are, wow, only one copy of Abyss Hin. I do not like cutting this card down, but I do like multiple copies of the Minstrel, especially come to the TCG where you want to rip away into your opponent's hand and get to those options so you can start playing the game. Now, one of the cooler tech choices that we've been seeing Mermail adapt towards is the General Ryo here. Just to make sure that, you know, if your opponent's activating a monster effect, General Ryo is going to start shaving off those extra resources out here to start taking away those options from your opponent. You can thank dear old Lancia here for being the thing to actually access this. I think that actually having this card in the deck is very, very important and is one of the biggest changes that the current Mermail list needs to actually head towards, take advantage of. And then, of course, oh, we have some Centurion. This build is actually playing the main deck Scythe. Oh, man, we are these people now. I see. I also see that we can do some revolving door shenanigans with the Scythe because, you know, this is a light monster. So we could just kind of catch a little soft loop here and just kind of laugh at your opponent. Hello? What are you doing in here, Bish Balkan? I guess we're trying to do some little interesting things with this, to say the least. I just immediately see this. I think that's cool. See that we have the Damned Dragon in here. This is going to be another one of those cards you're going to want to keep an eye on out here as time kind of goes on. I know that the TCG players don't really have the foresight to want to pick this card up, but if you're a Centurion main, this card, you know, and even a Crystal Beast main, this is a free special summon. There's just going to come a time where you're going to need to just burn off too, just to get the game started, just so you can actually play. So don't forget that. What in the world is this? This is a 60-card Labyrinth Orcus deck with a couple Paleo cards. What in the world are we doing out here in Japan? Like, what possesses us to look at these crazy little ideas and go, yes, this is perfect? We're also playing the Fair Welcome Labyrinth in here as well. Why? As long as I recall, this card was not very good. Maximizing on triple crescendo in here as well. Like, sure. I guess, how many options can you shove into a deck? We're having some gnome material down here as well. I also see, okay, so we got the extra Fuwas and the Nihilus. Sure. Oh my gosh, we're playing the orchestrated Einsalts in here as well. If you're playing a normal or specials, you can take an Orcus World Legacy card from your hand or deck and either send it to the graveyard or banish it. That's actually pretty good. Okay. Oh, sure. Next up is this Knight Risal deck. Now, the reason why we're even looking at this is because when I saw this concept, I was like, okay, so we're using the best of the Risal package in here to kind of facilitate the little extra combo stuff that we can do our lines of play. But, you know, also the Gem Knight stuff is level 4. Oh, and of course, we can go one step further. We can jam-pack a Fiendsmith package on into this bad boy. And now we can put our opponent into an even worse of a position out here. And boom, you've cooked up a grand concoction of BS. Just to kind of see what you can do. And of course, hello, ABAOQ, how are you? I'm really glad to see that, you know, you're just as fantastic as you could ever actually be out here. But in terms of, you know, some interesting spices, I think that this is actually kind of a nice little cute way to go about things. And then we have some insects for you. Now, our list in the OCG list, keep in mind we did get some cool generic insect support during the last set, and that cool little insect stuff actually kind of makes our insect pile a little bit more playable than theirs. But the OCG absolutely loves Crawler Soma. Like, this is always going to be the insect line that they're going to do, because they look at this card and they're like, well, you know, Crawler Soma effectively turns into 3 monsters. Yes, it does. And that's absolutely fine. All right? It just means that we got to play some, maybe not some welcoming crawler cards in our deck to kind of, you know, generate the advantage that, you know, this package needs to be seeing. Or, you know, we just draw the instant fusion and immediately get into Cruel, and, you know, we're just kind of off to the races for what this deck can actually do. The insect piles, I love actually getting the chance to see what this build can actually do on, you know, every new innovation. And, of course, Primite, Blue Eyes? Illusion of Chaos? What are you doing in here? So I guess the logic with this build is we can use the Magician Souls kind of feed off of like our worthless Lordly Loads after we've already done their purpose with them, and turn them into some extra draw power, which is not a terrible thing, but I don't really like the idea of, you know, just kind of losing our raw advantage package here. I mean, it is cool that you can shove Fiendsmith in here, but this extra deck is a tight, crazy pile. Also, the fact they're getting away playing Magia is actually kind of insane. But hey, I mean, this does, you know, it does make sure that we can see the Magia package, I guess. So what do you guys think about this madness? Please, leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think, and I will see your beautiful faces back here in a day, guys. Patrons, thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.